Hello, it's Water Dragon from the Song of the Winds. Happy spring equinox or Mabon, depending on where you are in the world. Normally I post a picture on Instagram of my seasonal altar, but this time I thought I would just do a little video, give you a quick walkthrough of what I have on my altar at this time of year. So I tend to change it up completely each Sabbath. It just sort of feels right, and generally I do it in alignment with the actual dates of the Sabbaths, but sometimes I feel like, I want to have a bit of a change at a different time, so occasionally I'll do that. I try not to have any, too sort of hard and fast rules with this, because it is meant to be quite sort of free-flowing and organic, I believe. I'm a little bit more casual about how I do things in my practice, because it's got to match in with my life. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. Let's have a look at what we've got here on the altar, and I'll sort of talk you through. So this lovely stick here, I can't even remember where I found it anymore, but it just seemed like the perfect wand. I don't even really use it as a wand so much. It's just kind of that shape and length, but you know how sometimes an object just really sticks out to you and you feel as if you need to have that in your life, that it's there for a purpose, and that's what it's there for. And then we have got my ash-handled secateurs, my Boline, and that's because it's a reminder for me to make that last push in the yard before the weather just gets too hot to do anything much else. We've got quite a large amount of land, really, and the original owners were obsessed with palms, so there must be 40 or so palms that need to be trimmed back or come out, and it's a lot of work. And we've been slowly sort of chipping away at it over autumn and winter, and it's getting to the stage now where it's just a little bit too hot to be out there for too long. So we just want to make that last push before it's unbearable in the yard, and we just need to let everything do its thing until we can go back out there. So that's that lovely pair of secateurs there, and I've actually got a video on this channel as well, just of unboxing those and my initial thoughts and where it came from. So if you're keen, you can check that out. I've got this dried sunflower which came in a moon box. It's a sunflower, it's bright and sunny, it just reminds me of just nature, and this time of year when everything's all dry and parched, having a dead preserved flower is actually quite sort of in line with my place in the world. Got this lovely calcite sphere, being orange, once again reminds me of the sun. This time of year. Got a nice little small singing bowl there. Sometimes I don't feel like smudging or using any other sort of smoke clearing in this room, so I'll just use sound. That's cool. And then my candle, I usually burn them until they're done. Whether they end up going across a few different altars or not, I'm totally cool with that, because I figure that the energy is just the same. It's almost nice to build it up. I've got my incense of the season at the moment. It's from Avalon's Apothecary, and it's an elemental blend. It's got quite a lot of orange and resins through there, and a bit of calendula, so that's really nice when it's burning. And then the oil for this season, I'm using the Fruition oil from the Moon box, and that's full of cornflowers. And when I have sort of broken down and set back up the altar, that is what has been sort of smeared around. Got my Goddess and God statues in the back. I've had them for years. I wish I knew who made them. I bought them at a pagan festival one year, and I've lost the business card, which sucks. But if anyone recognises the maker, please let me know, because I would just love to buy some more of their work. And then these are the two decks that I always have on my altar, well, pretty much always, like for the last part of the year, last 6 months or so. Yeah, just for this time of year. I'll show you the box in a minute, but I usually put down just what I think sort of represents this time of the year, or what I think I need to remember, really sort of bring into my life. And that's a little kookaburra. I usually like to have some sort of figurines on my altar because I'm just obsessed with native animals and really being in connection with your local spaces. So once again, that just feels like I'm bringing the outside in, which is lovely. And then just a little candle in the back. Nothing too fancy. I think it's from Kmart, honestly. This is the Green Man plaque that came with the most recent moon box. He's just spectacular, and even though that's kind of more designed for the Mabon, you know, cooler part of the year, he's just always such an ever-present, you know, deity in my life. So I feel like it's really important to always have him close by. This is just a little box. It also came from the moon box. It's like I'm plugging the moon box, but I'm not. It's just sort of how it's ended up. And yeah, that came with one of the boxes earlier this year. It's spring. I'm doing a little bit of spring cleaning, and in here are the contents and crystals and herbs and all sorts of bits and pieces of various spell sachets that I have had over the last, I think some of these are a couple of years old. One of them is really, really, really old. But I'm going to have a bit of a clean out and, you know, sort of, yeah, do a bit of spring cleaning there. So they're sort of doing their thing. And then we've got this gorgeous little patch. Who did that? Lillian Kuda, I think maybe. She's on Etsy. I'll put the information below, but she does really cool patches and stickers and little prints and all sorts of things. I've got quite a few of her things, but this seemed very apt for the season. And then crystal wise, you've got in the going from left to right, circling around, Prehnite, and then Kumbaba Jasper, Black Tourmaline, and Citrine. So that's not so much in alignment with the season, but more what I'm trying to bring into my life at the moment. A little offering bowl for when I pop things in there. A sage smudge stick that I'm just sort of making my way through. I'm not a massive fan of sage. I've got to be in the right sort of mood for it because the scent just isn't quite as nice as Palo Santo, in my opinion, that I normally use. And then this is just my little censer. It's wet at the moment because I used it the other night, and I always totally, what's the word I'm looking for? I put it into my cauldron. I've got a bucket of water that I keep beside my altar. There it is. For fire safety, and also just, you know, for the water representation. And yeah, for fire safety, once I've had the charcoal block burning, and that is incredibly hot, you can see that it's cracked. I've had this for donkey's years. It's probably on its last legs actually, before it cracks in pieces. Yeah, so I cool it down completely in the cauldron because I sort of am paranoid about fire living in Australia, and also just not wanting my house to burn down. Okay, I will show you the boxes for the deck now. Just a second. Okay, so the decks that I'm using at the moment on my altar, the Hidden Path Oracle. It's kind of an oracle, but it's not. It's really hard to define that deck. By Raven Grimacy and Stephanie Taylor. I'm sort of kicking myself because there was a second edition that was the same, you know, size, and you could combine decks, and I just sort of put off getting it, and it's gone out of print, and now it seems to be almost impossible to find. So just the regret of that. But it's a pagan deck, and it just goes through all different elements and, you know, parts of the wheel of the year. So yeah, that just feels really natural to have on my altar. And then I also always use the Dreamtime reading cards by Laura Bowen. Yeah, they just sort of fit perfectly with being in Australia, I think. They're beautifully illustrated. They're Aboriginal Australian like dot painting cards. They're really cool. That's through Rockpool Publishing if you wanted to check that out. I'll show you the back of the boxes as well. So there's a bit of the info there. If you were interested, you can pause and have a bit of a closer read. So that's it for now, guys. Thank you for joining me on my little altar tour. When I get my room a bit tidier, I'll actually do a bit of a room tour, because I've been meaning to do that for a while, and I'd really like to show you some of my bits and pieces, but it's just a bit sort of messy at the moment in the places that you can't see, so I don't want to take you on a tour. Well, it's not tidy. Yeah, okay, well, thank you for watching. I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. Okay, have a lovely week. Bye.